So you're gonna just ask me.
All right. I don't know what that was about. Welcome to Tea Time with Bunky. I do not own the rights to any of that music. I don't know. I think I did Shanice and them and call 911. I don't know. Welcome with Alan, aka Hollywood Everett Hawsey. Um, this is for those that don't know. Alan is my uncle brother. Let me explain how that works in the Hinton family. When you're raised in the Hinton house, like we were all so close in age and we were all connected to the point where we were raised like brother and sister. So that's why he has all these titles. So today we're going to be talking about ancestry from beginning to basically present, right?
Yes.
Because I did not know until you came to that rally to support me, um, how much you know about this.
Wow.
So we're gonna you can loosen up. This is fun. All right. I've never seen Alan so serious. I'm gonna be honest, except for when he was mad. So, but this is a serious conversation. It's a serious conversation, especially with all the things that are going on now. We're going to touch base on a few things. Let me just give you a little rundown because, as you saw the last time, this is a conversation that flows, right? It's not like uh, question answer type thing. We're going to be talking about racism, police brutality, school to prison pipeline, the SPP, which is now called the school to prison annex or schoolhouse to jailhouse track. We're going to talk about that. Foster care, good and bad, George Floyd's murder, basically the murder that shocked the world, and things that are continuing on today.
Yes.
Okay, well, let's talk about that. You had mentioned something. We were at the police reform in honor of Breonna Taylor, which I had no idea about. The peach tree. The peach tree.
Yeah. You can Google it. I don't remember, but really, I don't know the exact spot, but they always talk about the Holocaust. You know what I'm saying? They always, you got to understand, the government always changes the narrative.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody, when they say one thing, you got to look for like 20 things they're not telling you.
Right.
And when they said the Black Lives Matter, this is just, everything's just being really filmed now. But I said, educate yourself, because I always educate myself on when they say what one thing, I'm going to look at the things that they're not saying.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why at the rally I said, if you really want to start the history of our people, look at, they talk about the Holocaust, look at the Peach Bowl. Just put it up.
Yeah,
And millions of Africans died at the Peach Bowl because it was like a concentration camp that they put a lot of the slaves. That's when they freed the slaves, but you know, they always talk about, oh, get over it, it's 400 years ago. No, that's not what it's 400 years ago.
Right.
You know, when they ended slavery, people were still enslaved like 50, 60 years after that.
Right.
They didn't tell you about.
Right.
But they would throw them in this field and have them work the field, the cotton fields. And this is when nobody knew. And massive African Americans died there. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And over the years, the whole, this is, I'm talking about like 40 acres or more. Picture 40 acres, you know, and in your mind how much big the land is. They died by the millions, and they just left them there and buried them there. And to this day, the most beautiful peaches in the world grow there. But the kicker is nobody eats them.
Where all the
Oh, because all the slaves was buried there.
Wow.
So that's where that derives from.
That's crazy.
You know, if you really want to research. But to know me, you got to know from the beginning. You know what I'm saying? Let's touch on the foster care pipeline thing.
Well,
Now,
I was gonna wait, but if you want to go there, let's go. Let's do
yeah,
it. Let's do it.
I could do everything without in contents, but let's talk about how I got here with little sis and everybody.
Okay. You can call me Bunky.
Bunky, I recorded Bunky.
Yeah, that's what everybody calls
Yeah.
me. So.
So I when you got to figure, my mom in 1942, the Jim Crow era, and to touch on that, there's still people in Congress to this day that if you're 80 years old, you were born in the Jim Crow era, and we got half of the Senate, Congress that are over 80 years old and better.
Yeah, they are.
So where was they arrived from? So you really think there's going to be change when people are still in that Jim Crow era? How can you change your mindset? That's the one thing. All right, let's go. Don't get past. Let's get past that. Now, when I was 6 years old, my mom used to be a nurse. That's right, 1942, 1930. She was a black nurse. So you could imagine my lifestyle at my age, a black woman as a nurse back then. You know, so I didn't want for nothing. We didn't want for nothing. Me and my sisters, my brother. And one day everything comes crashing down. You know, my sister. I remember vividly to this day, my sister coming into the room and said, "Mommy's passed." You know, so for my life is like nobody knows this. You know what I'm
No,
saying?
I didn't know.
My family don't even know this. You know, except my sisters, of course. And my mother passed and my dad left, and that's the circumstances. You don't know the truth until you get older, and then you start realizing you hear all the pieces to the puzzle. But that's another story. So my mom passed when I was 6, and my aunt took us. You know what I'm saying? So it's like my aunt took us. She had 8 kids and plus us 6. So that's like 14 kids in the house. They tried their best to do everything for us, but when my mom died, to me, you know, I'm lost.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm like, mom's gone. And the weird thing, I didn't go to the funeral. I didn't even pass tears.
Oh, so you never dealt with it.
No, I didn't really like. They didn't bring me to the funeral. They let me go. So I was like, whatever. And I went from having everything to nothing that quick. Now you're forced to not the my aunt and try to do the best, but you gotta figure you're taking care of us and them. So they seem to always get the best. But then I just was bad. You know, I did what I want because I was 6 or 7 years old, and I wasn't gonna let my sister and them sit around and be hungry and stuff like that. So I did what I had to do. You know, at 6 or 7 years old. So you can imagine that. So like when I turned about 8, you know what I'm saying, I was just bad. And so they sent me away. I went to a group home. I went to Middletown. You know what I'm saying? But you gotta understand my mindset. I didn't really care, you know what I'm saying? I cared, but my mom and them always instilled in me, my pop was disciplined. You know, always had discipline by myself. I always was a loner. I didn't talk too much, you know, didn't say too much. So I don't want to be long, so speed it up. So I went to the group home and ended up fitting there bad. I got in trouble again. It's long story short. Then they sent me away to Camp Cass. You know, this is the camp for bad boys, you know. So I'm there till about 14, you know, so I'm just shortening everything up. So I'm there till about 14. And they come to me one day, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to school, doing what I'm supposed to do, playing sports on where we're at. We're like in a big campus just for boys, you know, like boys camp. So they come to me and says, you know, Everett, I'm like, what? They said, oh, what do you think about going to a foster home? And me, I'm like, yeah, whatever, you know what I'm saying? I'm 14, I'm like, yeah, whatever, you know what I'm saying? And they, we'll see. So I'm like, it's like a year goes by. And they said, we got somebody who want to meet you. So I'm like, all right, we're going to see how this is going to go. You know what I'm saying? Good luck with that. So I go to Miss Hitton and Pop. So, but one thing you got to understand, now you got to figure all this time I'm like a loner. You know what I'm saying? I don't really bother any time. But there's more to it to the story, you know what I'm saying? You have to hold your own. No ifs or buts about it. You know what I'm saying? So you had to stand your ground. You had to do what you had to do. You know what I'm saying? So I always been I always been a rough rider, as you can say. But so I go the first day at Miss Hinton's. You know what I'm saying? So I go in there. You always feel good people. You don't know. You gotta understand. I feel people's soul. That's my blessing. I got good intuition. Mm-hmm. So I meet Miss Hinton and Pop. And mother comes in. She said, "How you doing? What's your name?" I said, "Alan." She looking at me. So I'm like, Alan. And she said, "What you want for dinner?" Now I wasn't a big fan of vegetables. You know, I wasn't really into vegetables. Mm-hmm. So she said, "What kind of vegetables you want?" And I was like, "I don't eat vegetables." You know, she was like
trying to be hard in
grandma's
house.
Yeah. Mother was looking at me like, And she said, "You look like a corn person." In my mind, I'm like, I guess I'm gonna eat some corn, you know. But I stayed because they asked me after that, like a week, if you want, I wanted to stay, and I said, no, I want to stay because I could feel they was genuine, down to earth people. Like I could look at mom and pop, they was my mom and pop. You know what I'm saying? They wasn't know about this is the pipeline with the foster care. You got to feel it within yourself because you got a lot of bad business with foster care now because
Right.
people just want the money.
Right.
The money wasn't back my mind. Of course, I got to help mom and pop bring me. There was Charles there. So, but I like mother and pop because they was down to earth and they instilled in you the discipline. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, oh, I can stay here. You know what I'm saying? I like these people. You know, and they always taught me. I always loved them because they always taught me, um, treat me the same. You know, fell in love with James and everybody. So, Bunky. So the first day, I'm at the basketball court. This when I started going to church. You know, I really was in church. So mother and
Yeah.
me and Charles at church playing basketball. She said, "Yo, Al." I was like, "What, man?" He's like, "Oh, mother's gonna come to go to church." I was like, "Man, I ain't going to church, man. What you talking about?" So I hear the horn beating. I was like, "Who's that?" And mother's like, "Let's go. It's time to go to church." You know. So I go into church and stuff like that. But I got tight with Bonky and the family. It became this family. You know, I love him. You know what I'm saying? And I always couldn't help to get close to Bunky because Bunky always went in the room and their room was like one side Michael Jackson, one side Boy George.
That's right, Michael
One
Jackson.
like Michael Jackson, one like Boy George.
All day.
So I
Boy
used to go in
George
there.
was shell.
That's right. I used to go in there tease him. You know, and I called Bunky. I didn't know she was scared of fish. And I just happened to go fishing one day. She had some donuts. And I put her under pressure. I was like, "Why she running in the room?" And I got fish. Because mother liked the fish, you know. So, and then after that, I took her donuts that day because she was scared of fish. I said, "Give me the donuts. I'm going to touch it with the fish." You know. Long story short. But when I got in trouble, you know what I'm saying, and just when I graduate. But here's the play. Here's the this diversity of your color. Now I don't have a record because when you're that age back then,
Sponge
they
it.
sealed it and
Yeah.
expunged it, so they ain't supposed to open it up. Now I got in trouble, and the white kid I got in trouble. I used to play baseball with. He did worse than I did. He hit
Right.
some person, DWI, but back then they didn't call it that. In a car, he killed him. Yes, I won't say no names, but he did,
Okay. All
and I
right.
played baseball with him. So, and mine's not even that worse. So we go to court. And I was supposed to. They wanted me to go in the military because I was really good at coding at the time. I could pick out codes like instantly, and the military was on me like, "Yeah, why don't you come to the military?" So I was thinking about it. So I go to court. They let him slide. They sent him to the military. He didn't want to go. They sent him. Where did I go? At 17, 18. I go to prison. You know what I'm saying? I'm in prison. Pop passed away. They let me come see Pop passed away. So, you know, I was bitter. I was hard. Then I come home and I'm at the house of mom passed away. So after that, I'm like, I still hung out up here, but then, you know, you got to find your own way.
Mm.
So I went to see, you know, I didn't see my real sisters in them until I was like 22.
Wow.
You know, I didn't run into my real sisters until I was 20. I didn't even know where they was. Until while I was working in a group home, I just happened to take them to places, and I started running into people in Newburgh that like, "Oh yeah, your sister." And that's when I first.
Cause y'all
started.
all look alike.
Yeah, and I didn't know where they was. Really.
Right.
Nobody really like told me because you got to figure all them years, I didn't talk to my sisters, anybody really, none of my family.
Right. So, but let me ask you. Okay, the difference in your treatment between you and the boy you played baseball with.
The treatment was the color.
Right.
You know
It was totally the color. And we
yes,
know
because
that.
they unsealed my. How do you go being legal and unseal your files when you was younger?
But do you think that totally, which I'm sure it did. I mean, I don't tell you this, but I mean, you're a great guy. At first, I wasn't feeling. I mean, come you.
I know.
Yeah, I wasn't feeling you at first. I'm gonna be honest with you because you just whatever. I thought you were a little rough around the edges. I'm not even gonna
Yeah.
lie. I was scared of Newburgh people. I'm not even gonna lie. But it's like the fact that that boy killed somebody
Hmm.
was sent to the military and you were sent to jail. Like what? As a child, your mind is still developing at 17,
Hmm.
18 years old. Like, how do you feel that that impacted you? I mean, we weren't. This wasn't even a topic on the list. But how do you feel like that impacted you thinking about that? Because I'm sure you thought about it.
Me, but from everything when my mom passed and the Hattons passed, I don't really give it a thought. I don't go back. You know, my favorite words is what it is. You know, it's just to go forward. You know, I always been rough on the edges. It would take a lot for you to really know me. You know what I'm saying? It would take a lot from all the hurt and everything that you go through. It's like, you know, when I tell you something, you should really listen because it takes a lot for me to talk a lot.
Oh yeah,
I really got to feel you.
that's why I'm surprised you're here. I'm not even gonna lie.
Yeah, but I don't mind. But as you get older, you get smarter. You know what I'm saying? That's like if if you're 50, I'm 55. If you're 55 years old and you're still acting like you're 20 and 30, you just
Right.
lost 30 years of your life.
Right.
And that's just ridiculous. You know, you got to grow and keep growing.
Yes, you do. Now let me ask you, because you're in Newburgh. Newburgh is a rough city.
Hmm.
It's a rough city, and there was a point in time it seemed like every, I mean, it's still in the news a lot, but it seemed like Newburgh was in the forefront of Hudson Valley news, like day after day after day, like police brutality and different things like that. Believe it or not, I don't know if you knew. I don't know if I should say it, but he's not there. But there was a point where Roe was interviewed to work there,
Hmm.
and I may be wrong for saying this, but I'm mom. You know how I am.
Yeah.
I prayed that it didn't work out. I did. I prayed that it didn't. That it, because I was afraid. I was afraid, even though you're there, everybody knows you, but it's different with law. It doesn't matter if the officers know you. All they see is a uniform. People see uniforms, but it seems like the way it's set up, the police department, it doesn't mirror the community.
No, of course it doesn't mirror, but people get the bad rap out Newburgh. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
they do. They
Because
do.
I like Newburgh. There's no doubt about it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And I've been there a long time now. And the Rough Riders and us, we started doing the rescue. We're going to bring the rescue program with the youth to Newburgh. That's what we're really trying to do.
But what is the rescue program?
It's a from the Rough Riders. I've been a double R, and been knowing them for a long time now. You know what I'm saying? Long story
And that's a
short.
motorcycle gang.
Yeah, nah.
Not a gang, motorcycle riders.
Yeah, but it's really not associated. When you wear the double R, you got to understand it's not a motorcycle game. It's just associated with that.
Yeah.
Double,
Explain it to me, because I haven't. You know, I have
double
no
R
clue.
is a lifestyle. It's not the motorcycle game. You know what I'm saying? The motorcycle is always associated with it as that presented, but we're really not about the motorcycle. It's just that people seem like it's a motorcycle. No, it's a lifestyle. It's how we live our life.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Everything about it. Newburgh's not a bad place.
No,
You can get it anywhere.
you got bad people
You know what I'm saying?
everywhere. Right.
But them kids just need a structure for some people that's real.
Right.
You know, they want to give the youth. They got to stop that symbolic gestures. Like the Black Lives Matter. I don't like that they put Black Lives Matter on Trump Plaza. What is that? What are we getting from that?
You know what? Somebody had. I did what I call him a controversial person at my job. And I'm not going to say what ethnic group he's from. It would surprise you, but I'm not even going to go into all of that. Um, he's always like nitpicking, and he's like, "Oh, I see you for the Black Lives Matter. You know, it's a political affiliation, blah blah blah." And like I keep trying to explain to people that the Black Lives Matter movement, I am not the political part of it. I'm for Black lives, black people.
Like me.
You know, yeah,
Period.
that's what it's. Period. It's not even. But they're trying to make it so that it's a political thing. That's how they're connected this Antifa and all these other crazy things along with it, and they try to make it seem like we're troublemakers and instigators, and they don't get the point, like you had said about the peaches. My memory is horrible, but it's like the youth, our youth, me, I can speak for myself. Growing up, I didn't know my history, whereas the Jewish children know the Holocaust. They know the story.
They teach it to them.
It's taught
No
to
doubt
them.
about it.
But we're not taught these things, and so if you don't know your history, how can you stand up for the truth?
But that's like a trick question. Like I study, but we got to change the whole history of everything that's ever
Absolutely.
been said. If you really
Absolutely.
want to change the history, The whole world needs a reset button.
Absolutely.
Really, I could take you back to when to get it into it from the Dark Ages times. You know, all that. I go way back to Caucasus Mountain. I go way back to when the Moors. You know, this are all the things I studied. When you read, like they always say, reading fundamental. You think I never wasted all the time that I've been upstate stuff. I read.
Mm-hmm.
You search. You start understanding. You get to know yourself. You know, and the Black Lives Matter. I'm with them, but then I'm not because everything's symbolic gestures.
Right.
They've been giving us symbolic gestures for 40 years or more.
Right.
Oh, well, let's give it to the program, but then they're very selective with that. You know, like the man said, you got to put the people of color, Black Lives Matter, you got to start making people financially stable on the same level.
But
They're here and the black peoples are here,
but,
plain and simple.
But let me ask you, okay, now we know that there is a big
Gap.
We know that there's a gap. But let me ask you though, because so many weren't taught the actual responsibility of it, because many people weren't taught the importance of finances and how to invest and join together. Not like Black Wall Street, you know, when they used to work together, you know, they knew how to build wealth. I'm playing the devil's advocate. Do you think, like some of these young people, some keeping it 100, you give some of these young people a large amount of money without the training and the know-how, because they have to have training to deal with such finances? Do you think that they would spend it and invest it properly, whereas their children's children?
But honestly, you don't. No, I don't. Who are you to judge that? Who are we to judge? Because you give the people the money, what they do with their money. That's not. You're not here to tell them that they got to build wealth. You're not here to tell them what they got to do with their money. You know what I'm saying? That's like me giving a bum $20 and be like, oh, you better not take that for drugs. I'm not here to give him a couple of dollars to judge him that what's he gonna do with it. If I give it to him, I give it to him.
Right.
I'm not here to judge him. I don't care what's he done with it.
Right.
If that time makes him happy, it's making him happy.
Okay.
I'm not here to judge you to tell you how to do anything.
Right.
You know, but let them people learn. Everything's a learning process.
Right.
Stop trying to dictate with the how they supposed to do this, how they supposed to do that. That's not your place.
Right. It's not my place.
It's
right.
our place is just to give it to them and they can do what they want to do with it. Plain and simple to the point.
So you're a firm believer in reparations?
Yes.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? They should, but that's
well,
that's a different thing.
First they got to acknowledge that it happened, because
yes.
you still have so many people denying that it even happened. Like that's
a totally different discussion, and
yeah.
you can say when you talk about that, you might as well say good luck.
Right. Okay, we're gonna talk about another place. Well, I'm not on the fence with this. Police brutality. I call George Floyd's death my awakening moment. You know, because like when Yusef Hawkins was killed in '89, you know, all these things, like I knew all these things, but it was like I was like in my own little world. Not like you told me the story about when your grandmother pulled you and your cousins aside and told you. Like, see, I never had that happen to me, right? So that's why I call, unfortunately, George Floyd's death my awakening moment, when I'm like, yo, what is going on? And raising 3 black men, you know, knowing that this, because you know I lived sheltered. I lived in a, you know, I lived in a sheltered world. But we're continually seeing this, like the latest things with this, the Army Lieutenant Narazo, who was pepper sprayed, right?
Yeah.
Just coming home from buying a brand new truck in full military garb.
I seen it.
His sign, the license plate was in the window like most new cars when you don't have that back plate on, right? But yet the officer, when I call them bullies with badges, you know, was filming himself. This is, I believe, was in Virginia. He made a comment. He made the comment of, "You're gonna feel lightning," something about lightning, which referred to being electrocuted.
Yeah.
You know, and so you have this officer who served and is serving our country, who is afraid to get out of his car. Then you have the young man in, is it Wisconsin?
But you understand. I understand the Wisconsin one. You talking about the female when she shot the.
No. The young man, the 20-year-old that was just killed by the female officer who she resigned the next day.
Yeah.
Then charges saying that she grabbed her taser, her police.
By mistake.
But there is no mistake, because when they're in training, It's like a
Heavy,
dominant side. The
yes,
gun is on the
heavy and
dominant.
light,
Right.
heavy and light side.
Right. So it wasn't an accident, and so this woman has a barricade around her house for protection.
Yeah, and the taxpayers are paying for that.
Yeah.
I've seen it. But you gotta understand, guys. Well, everything I've been through, on a real, I would like to keep it real. I don't sugarcoat nothing.
No, you don't.
You know what I'm saying? You guys gotta stop being the victims. You know what I'm saying? Not the bad. I don't condone violence.
Wait, who's the you guys?
The people of color.
Okay.
Gotta stop being a victim.
Black people?
Yes.
Okay.
Because when you're a victim, man, like it's like anybody that's evil wise, I could say that's a large word. They can feel your fear.
Right.
You know, and you gotta stop listening to the media and all that. Like they fear you. They put that subliminal message in your mind, and you get used to it. Black people get used to be, oh, I can't say nothing to him.
Right.
I'm not that dude. To keep it real with you, when I first came to Newburgh, yes, true story. I banged out the whole Newburgh Police Department one day.
Oh Lord.
Yes, the whole force for a flat tire. True,
What?
quick story. My tire got flat,
Uh-huh.
and the officer stopped and said, "Is there a problem?" I said, "I got a flat tire. Nice, even." And he said, "What do you mean, Tim?" I said, "I got a flat tire."
Right.
He felt threatened. He pulled the pin.
Wait, he felt threatened because you had a flat tire?
Yes, he pulled the pin. True story. He pulled the pin, and the whole Newburgh the police department came up and started with me. Really, they was like, "Oh, is there a problem?" I said, "Yeah, I had a flat tire." And you know me, I'm not one to back down. And a quick story, I was like, "Yo, listen, man, I feel honored. I got the whole Newburgh Police Department down here to help me fix a flat." You know what I'm saying? And two officers grabbed me. You know what I'm saying? You know, they put their hands on my body. And I'm like, "Yo, I'm not doing nothing wrong. I am not committing a crime. I got a flat tire. Why you bothering me?"
Right.
And I said, "Do not touch me again. This ain't baseball, boy. You don't get 3 strikes." And you know. And quick story, they grabbed me, and I stamped them together like this. I took them and bam.
Oh,
and after
God.
on, it was like the actor said, action, and it was on. And I really mean it was on.
He called for backup because you had a flat tire.
Yes,
He felt threatened.
yeah, because I said I got a flat, and he literally looked at me like, "What?" And he pulled the pin, and they all came up there, and we started thumping, and we didn't thump for a couple minutes. We probably thumped at least a good 10 minutes. Me and the whole police.
All of them
squad.
against you.
Yes, and it wasn't a good day for either party. I was messed up. They was messed up, but I show them respect.
Right. And
Respect
that's the
is
thing.
due.
And
I
that's-
show them respect because will they do that now? Would they do that to this day? I'm talking about like 10 years ago. Oh, we fought like WWF Raw, bro, with the police department. So how was that? See how the trend changes?
Yeah.
Nowadays you couldn't do that. You did probably put a bullet in you.
Oh,
quicker than
doubt.
nothing.
No doubt. He's
Now
not
you
even
see the
gonna.
difference.
He's not even gonna pull a pin. He's gonna pull
Yes.
a gun.
You know what I'm saying? But you can't feel threatened by these. You know what I'm saying? You got to live life that you can leave at any
But
time.
you know, but it's scary.
Yeah,
it is scary. When I see the lights, well, there don't be lights pulling up behind me because I do try to, I try to follow the law, whatever.
You can't show fear,
No.
Bunky. It's like
But when I see the police, now you're talking to someone who's married to an officer,
yeah.
okay? When I see the police, and they're not even doing, if I see the police come up behind me or near me, instantly, I feel my blood pressure go up. And I know I'm not doing anything. But you know what? And that's crazy that's how most black people feel.
And they should stop feeling like that.
But you can't help it because when you see all these things which are now being recorded, you're seeing these. I'm seeing a Sandra Bland. You know what I'm saying? A woman, because you mostly see the men.
But you got to understand this too. I call them people cowards that do things like
Yeah,
that.
they are. They're bullies with
You know why?
badges.
Because when you're out of your element,
Mm-hmm.
you could be anywhere. You always see is isolated instances that got filmed. You don't see them going to the South Side of Chicago. You don't see them going to the Compton and all that messing with them dudes like that. You don't see the racist people going there. You don't see how do you see racism in New York City? You don't. Know why? People keep it to themselves because literally, like I seen this program. A man said it. I just looked the other day. I was looking at his video. I put on a thing. He said the truth. They don't say it because you're feet apart. Mm-hmm. It's different. All these instances isolated. They don't really start trouble where they don't start trouble. And you can't run your life and you can't be walking around these people in fear all the time. When it's your time to go, it's your time to go.
I know, but I'm not trying to rush it.
No, I'm just saying, in general.
I hear you.
You got to feel their pain, and it's like, to me, they're all cowards. For us to get past this, we need to do a whole reset button on the whole judicial system, everything. Right. Congress, we need a reset button.
And That's a good transition. That's a good transition to this question I was going to ask you, because we see how Georgia is changing the voting laws, right? I mean, like when I saw it, like my stomach dropped, because you see these five white men standing there changing the voting, trying to change the voting um, rights law, which just really came into play in 1975. Which I was 5 years old, 5 years old, and and then you go back in history, the 15th Amendment, where black men, not even the women, were categorized basically as people, gave them some kind of rights. 15th Amendment on paper, because we know that wasn't how it was on paper, but it wasn't until like 1960 or whatever till a black woman was able to vote. So you're talking about changing the system when you have all these men in their 80s, when the Supreme Court, they're trying to change it up, but most of the courts, higher up courts and stuff, you look at them, none of them look like us. None of them. And they're like, well, run. If you want to see change, run. But how are you going to run when you have the people?
There's one way we can do change for the people of color.
Okay. Black people.
And I ain't talking about celebrities, because celebrities got to get off of that.
Specify it. Black people.
Yeah, black people. You got to get. We can't have celebrities. Celebrities shouldn't talk about politics to us, because really nobody's really. It's like a totally different thing.
Totally.
Like, you want to use black dollars, we need to make correlations. You know what I'm saying? That who we voting for. That's what the corporations do. They give them money to lobby and about that stuff. We need people like that, people of color, to do that. That's how you get laws changed.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Abrams.
Yes. And you get Biden in there. He got on there and said, "Oh, if you're not black, you don't vote for me." Okay, we'll take that. But now we should be as a people, we should be saying, we want to see true change, or you ain't gonna make another term.
Right.
Straight like that.
But and you look at that. Look at that. Okay. Biden made that comment, and people were all over him. The white people were all over him, because they didn't want him to be in office. And my thing about it is, with him being in office or whatever, it's not that I agree with everything this man says. You know what I'm saying? But it was getting a Trump out of here. And people don't seem to. My son, I'm not naming names.
You took the lesser of evils. That's
exactly,
all you did.
Exactly.
That's all people did.
You got to pick and you choose which battle you want. I mean, like, we was dealing with Satan himself. You know what I'm saying? Now we're dealing with one of his minions. But it's like. It's a gradual thing. Like with all elections, you remove the worst. You may not like who you're voting for, but they're better than the next. Okay, we're going to see how you do in these next 2 or 4 years you're in position. Because I'm talking about your locals. Because you got to get them local elections in.
Yes.
People don't look at your local elections, these are the people that represent you. Fallsburg has one coming up this year. Just want to put it out there, Town Fallsburg.
Honestly, Bunky, and I can tell you all right now, if we don't get this together as a people, and I'm talking about all people too, I ain't just talking about black.
Right.
Everything is changing right before your eyes. And if you really want to think about it, the world takes a reset every so often. The dinosaurs, they took a reset. Everybody we digging for, the archaeological digs, that's all resets. The people we discover now, right? Mm-hmm. So what makes you think we're any different? What possibly could you make me think we're any different from any other species that lived on this earth? There's always a reset button. Like the Bible says, everything's been said before, everything's been done before. So we're in the times when everything's coming to full circle.
It's totally coming to full circle.
So are we going to be here, or what are we going to do about it? My thing is now, and this part of my life, is to teach my kids the right way.
Right.
About the finances, how they do. To be happy, they should have their own businesses.
Right.
To make yourself happy. So anytime you work for somebody, you're really not happy. When you work for yourself, you're very happy.
Right.
And how to carry themselves and not to live in fear. You know what I'm saying? So that's little things you have to do.
And be kind.
Yes, you gotta. Our new generations, you gotta instill in them.
Yeah.
Because the racist people, they teach their kids racism.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
And that's a bad thing, because nobody's born a racist.
No, they're not. They're not.
So if we don't get it together, well, the reset's coming.
And I'm seeing a lot of people now that weren't open to these conversations. Like because they were raised in an all white, strict family, would not dare have these conversations or even be open a little bit to seeing any sort of change. I am seeing and experiencing the conversations, and because some of them want to change, many
Yes.
want to change because they know it's not good. When you look at the children of today, when you look at the kids, most of them are biracial.
Yes.
So we're all like one.
That's
And
what I said. A lot of people that call themselves racist,
yeah,
they got biological kids,
right,
interracial kids.
exactly, exactly. You know,
And the kids are the future because the dinosaurs are dying out. You know what I'm saying? Them breeds are dying out. There's a change coming and it's coming. You
there's a
know,
change coming.
and I don't know if there'll ever be reparations, whatever, but you got to teach your kids the right way.
Yeah,
You
and we
know,
need to start with the history books because
yes,
those history books are not our history.
no,
They're not our history. Um,
because the deeper they dig, the blacker it gets. Do your
yeah.
research. The deeper they dig now, the blacker it gets. It really does. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that in a bad
No,
way.
it just is what it
Because
is.
honestly, if you really think about history, black people are not the most. They're the most docile, forgiving people
Yes, we are.
on this planet.
Yeah,
We really are.
yeah.
We get whooped, killed, everything, and we might protest, but we really might a little looting, but that's nothing. You know what I'm saying? But we really haven't got to that stage that black people are really violent towards white people,
Yeah.
and that's kind of funny,
We're
isn't
not
it?
revenge driven.
No, and that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It says a lot
It says a lot.
on so many levels that we can keep doing it to these people, and they really don't. They just turn. They just
But
take
we're
it. They
getting
take it.
tired.
They take it. Yes,
We're getting tired.
yes.
We're getting tired because there's only but so much.
That you can take.
Yeah. Because like I say, we are not. I'm. I'm not my grandma Peterson.
Yeah.
I'm not. Uh, I'm not grandma either. Grandma's a little tougher than me still, but no, we're not doing that. You're not gonna just come out of your face and say what you want to me, and I'm just gonna sit there. You know, we have to go for those corporate positions. Not even the corporate position. We have to not be afraid. We have to not be afraid to walk in, walk into our truth.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
like we need to get people a good sports person. And I'm not talking about people that's been there. I ain't talking about the Al Sharptons, all them boys.
we need a
Nah.
new voice.
And, because they change the narrative so easy. Like, even with remember when and nobody wanted to really take the COVID shot because of the history of everything? And see how quick they could change the narrative?
But you know,
Everybody runs against the shot.
but the thing about it is, the narrative was Trump. It
I
was
don't,
him. He made it. The way he said it was Operation Warp Speed. I wouldn't take anything called Operation Warp Speed because I instantly thought of the Tuskegee Airmen, the Tuskegee experiment.
exactly.
Because Operation Warp Speed.
Yeah.
You gonna let somebody shoot you with something that you think was made yesterday? When in
No.
all actuality, they've been working on these injections for years because they knew something was coming.
Well, look at when they used to give all the black people, they gave them syphilis to see
Yeah.
how they would react.
The Tuskegee experiment.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird, but it takes a lot. You know
When
what
I
I'm saying?
can in May, because I had to wait until May because I had COVID, I will be getting
But I'm saying
the shot.
yeah, I'm saying that it's good and bad. Everything's good and bad.
Everything
but
is good and
if you
bad.
got a lot of underlying conditions, I don't know about taking a shot. But if you really don't, maybe you should. But me, I'm not really into. I never had a flu shot, so
See, I started getting them when
I
my
never
granddaughter
took
was
anything.
born, and I never had the flu before that. But since she was born to protect her, and that's the point of the COVID shot. It's basically to protect. It's protecting you, but it's protecting everybody around you. Like if you have loved ones with horrible underlying health conditions, and you're a carrier and you don't know it.
Yeah.
So that's basically what the COVID shot is for. It's to protect you, but it's also to protect the people around you. Those no maskers, they're ridiculous. It's my right not to wear a mask. Well, it's my right not to get COVID.
Social distance to me is it's like a lifestyle anyway. Cause I don't like nobody.
Yeah, I'm really antisocial too.
Yeah, cause I'm really not a big person. When you see me fish, I work hard.
Yeah.
When you see me fishing around the guys, that and We still spread out. We just take a picture together. But I always tell my kids, the best company you can keep is by yourself.
Yeah.
If you could keep your own company, you're such a
Right.
happy and down to earth
Right.
person that you don't need nobody around you. You can sit by yourself and just relax.
Right.
Nobody around you.
You know,
You're
my
doing
boys
good.
used to say that to me. You're always by yourself. Why? Because you know what? I don't mind being by
But
myself.
that is an excellent trait to have.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's like natural social distancing.
You're right.
So you're like, and you're like, you're good.
Right. Yeah. You're right.
Yeah.
People need to practice it. People need to practice it. Um, that song that I played, I never heard it before. Black Rage by Lauryn Hill, and because before this podcast, I'm like, I want to play prior to every podcast a song that's relevant to the topic. And I'm like, what could I find? And I'm looking, and it's like the words to this song. It totally resonates on what black people are going through. Like they're threatening your freedom. Uh,
Yeah.
to stop your complaining, poisoning your water. Flint, Michigan. And saying that it's raining. It's like the words to that song. I was like, yo, this is crazy.
They always change the narrative, and everybody says they do all this. They do the white people the same way, because you're not part of that 1%.
Right.
If you're not part of that 1%, you better wake up. There's only 1% that rules the world.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Really. If you think I'm kidding, next time you go want to search for something, go know who the best president that touched on that.
Who?
Kennedy. Go look it up. They got rid of Kennedy when Kennedy sat there in the Oval Office one day and said, "The people, my people, the United States, we're not going to stand by and let the shadow government dictate what we do." Look it up. You think I'm kidding? Yes, look up his files when he was sitting in the White Office. He said, "I'm not going to let that shadow government dictate what to do. We do in this democracy over here in the United States." And 2 weeks later, they shot him.
Yo, that's deep.
Deep ain't it? You
That's
think I'm
deep.
kidding? Look it up. Look up the things when John F. Kennedy when he speaks. Once he started bringing up that shadow government and he's not going to go for this, that, and the third, oh, you had to go. So many things behind the scenes. I don't really stress the presidents because we all know they're
Yeah. They're just a
spokesperson.
front. Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
they're
just a
just a
front.
spokesperson for the United States.
Right.
They can't do nothing without Congress. That's why they're always a fight for Republican seats and a Democrat seat.
Yep.
If the president's Democrat, he wants the Democrat seats. If he's Republican, he wants a Republican seat.
Right.
But two birds flock together. You
Yeah.
better get that in your mind too. There's not just one feather on one side
Yeah.
of the bird.
It shouldn't
The
be.
bird has two feathers.
You're right.
You
Yeah,
think
people don't get that. They're like, "Oh, well, you're a Democrat. That's why you think that." Or you're like, "No, I vote," and people will ask me, "Well, what party are you?" I'm like, "I'm a registered Democrat because I have to register." But me, I voted for Republicans. I vote for the person who speaks to me, who's saying the right thing at the moment. It's not about because I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm registered that so that I can be a part of the primaries. Because if you're not either, or you can't be a part of primaries, and I just want to have some kind of voice as to at least who even has the opportunity to run for me. But I'm not.
but me, I'm affiliated. I
But
don't
we
really
were
vote.
originally Republicans.
Yeah, but
People don't know that. Black people were
yeah.
originally Republicans.
Black Wall Street was Republican.
Yeah, we were originally Republicans.
Mhm.
And then they changed the whole
Narrative.
Yeah, they changed it all.
But I don't really like. I'm not really the person that really like wants to do the voting thing, but
But you have to.
yes, but
Gotta
but
make your
I'm
voice
not
heard.
I'm not dude that would die for my people, 100%. If I had to make the choice to be like to put my life on the line for my people, I would. I'm not built because I do so much history and there's such a turnaround that it's embodied me to be like I really do love my brothers and sisters, the good and bad in them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I know we rough headed and hard headed.
But look, it's in us. Look what happened. We were stolen.
Yes.
I mean, some black people sold us too over in Africa. But some people from Africa
But when you dig deep, Bunky, you can look this up too. When they came over here, do you know there was already
There was already black people
black
here.
people over here?
Yeah, they were. But it's just the way that we came here and
They changed the
why.
narrative
Yeah,
about the
there were. Yeah,
Indians.
there were black people here.
Yes, they did that too, but that's you have to dig. You know what I'm saying? But that's all food for thought that I do
Yeah.
because it's, changes come subtle and it comes slow.
You know, and at the end of the day, there's good and bad in everything.
Yeah.
Like just like, I mean, we were blessed to have you. You know, like
And I love y'all. I came to love y'all like brothers and sisters.
Because you're here. You're here. But you know, you hear the horror stories of foster care.
Yes.
You hear the horror stories, and by God's grace, um, grandma and granddaddy and
they did a
Aunt
good
Sissy
job.
and them, yeah.
I felt their soul. I felt them
Yeah.
before I knew them.
But it's just it's horrible. Like what some and the black kids seem to get it worse. As far as like adoption, I saw a movie on adoption where
They're in it for the money. They don't really care about the kids.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's why I love the Hittens and everybody because they're genuine, down to earth people. You know, and believe me, I was a roughneck, rough rider way before the double
You
R.
were soft though. You were rough around the edges. I think it was just once I really got to know you, it's a protection mechanism.
Yeah, I think I scared you into for submission with the fish.
Well, Nick, I was petrified. I'm not even gonna lie. I was terrified.
Well, I came to love them and every my brothers and sisters. I don't consider them like faults or whatever. They're my people. Janice and all them, my sisters and everybody.
Yeah.
You know, they're my brothers and sisters. And I love them, plain and simple to the point.
I want to commend the Rough Riders for the good that they're.
Yeah,
they're
we're trying to bring it
do.
to Newburgh. The rest.
Because the young kids, they need to see something positive.
Yes.
You know, so maybe who knows? Maybe that's something that can branch out outside of Newburgh. 'Cause there's a lot of young children who don't have father figures, positive, black male role models.
Yes, and
in
teach
their
your
life.
kids because I always teach my kids to this day that I always sit them down, family meeting once a month. We'll talk about the events and everything. I always
Oh,
taught
that's
them.
what's up.
I always taught them that my kids. I was like, listen, never judge other kids when you go to school
Right.
by how they act.
Right.
And they said, "What you mean, Dad?" I said, "Because honestly, it's a blessing for you to have mom and dad with you
Right.
in this household, and you guys don't. We're not rich, and we work hard for what we get, but you guys really don't want for nothing, you know. And never judge any other kids because you might go to school and see a kid that's acting out and don't nobody, but you embrace them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because maybe their dad ain't home, maybe their mama that's
Right.
not home. And I told my sons is big boys. And I told my son they're athletes. I always taught my sons, don't you ever let any of your kids, school, bully or
Yeah.
pick on
Oh, I
anybody
hate a
because
bully.
you're a jock.
Right.
You turn around with your friends there and say, yo, do not disrespect this kid. You embrace him, you let him know.
Because you don't know what those kids.
Exactly. And I told my kids, like, yo, when your little brothers, you're with your friends, don't you ever let other people disrespect your little brother.
Hate a bully.
Because you check them quick. Listen, first of all, that's my brother.
Right.
And if you can't get that right, then the problem, then I guess they're not your friends.
Right.
Always instill in your kids that discipline, how you carry yourself around.
Right.
Because when you're a jock and people bully other little kids,
Yeah.
you can say one thing
And
and
it
that changes that whole trend.
Totally changes.
And you
it.
embrace that kid. And it's different.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You can use your power because you big boys to a different level of helping people out.
And that goes to treating people the way you want to be
Exactly. You're not sitting there laughing and going
Right.
on with the thing.
Yeah.
You don't do that. You
Because
stop
you're crushing, and kids today, because they have social media and everything like that, not like how we were raised when you were teased and bullied or whatever. You go
Yeah.
home and you cry. No, these kids are being bullied
Bully
when they go
online and
home
all that,
and kill themselves.
my daughters and them didn't have their first phone until they turned 16. And my son. In my household, that's right. They didn't have no internet, no playing on the phone, nothing until they got into high school. Then they really needed their phone. That's when we got their phones.
Yo, that's good.
So I wasn't on that. Or you gonna bully? Because my daughter, they bullied my daughter a little bit. She turned it around because your kids don't really tell you, but you find out.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm glad she handled it right because she'd have turned around and got her brothers. That might not have been a good thing.
Right.
You know. So
I remember being bullied in school.
yeah, but you should have told me then too.
No. And I'm not even going to say her name, but she didn't like me because I was a small girl and because I was a cheerleader. You know, being a cheerleader, you're friends with all the athletes. And I was never, I was never that girl,
Yeah.
But they, this one girl, oh, I tell you, after she messed with me, and there were times I would cry, and I just couldn't understand why she didn't like me. But then as I got older, I realized what it was.
She ain't like herself.
No, and I don't think she still likes herself. But that's neither here nor there. But no, being bullied is horrible because you don't want to go to school. You don't want because you don't know what you're about to face. And no, I never told anybody.
I really didn't bully people, but I might snap on
Yeah,
them.
yeah. I
You
mean,
can
like
trigger that,
snapping is.
saying jokes
Yeah,
and stuff. But you look
yeah. I
back
was
and be like, maybe I
not.
could have been easier on other people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, but you live and learn every day.
You used to
That's the
snap
whole
on
thing.
me.
Yeah, but that was
You
a good
had
thing.
no filter.
That's a loving snap, you know.
It's like, like used to come at me. But no, yeah. I guess we're gonna wind down.
All right, and then
Yeah.
saying one last thing, you gotta guys, you gotta find yourself. You know what I'm saying? And
Educate yourself.
yes,
Look
you know what
into
I'm
your
saying. You
history.
gotta make everything food for thought. That makes you a great person. Believe me, this is the first time I'm 55 that I really sat down and told my story to anybody
Yes.
ever. The people who's looking at this is you.
That's
Think to
crazy.
yourself, you ain't never know this much about me.
No.
I told some of my friends now, if you knew me back then, you wouldn't want to be my friend. You probably couldn't. I probably wouldn't have let you. You
Wow.
probably couldn't even talk to me. You know, I was always like different. You know, guys be like, "What's up? What's up?" Say, "What's up over there, man? Get away from me, man." Really, straight
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. Straight like that. That's how you
But
were.
come on over there,
Yeah.
man. You know, but and it takes a lot.
You were rough.
And for me to do the turnaround, you know what I'm saying? But that's a good thing. And they
Right.
like I say it was a good thing. You got to change.
Yeah.
You can't be the
Because
same
what you
person.
went through, and you tell your story, help somebody else, and you don't even know it.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing. Cause they'd be like, "Oh, he went through that. I didn't know." It totally can help somebody. Totally.
Yeah, from going to 17 years old, going to gladiator school, prison's gladiator school. You think back then it was all cotton candy and let's have a kumbaya around the fire?
No.
No, you had to handle yours, man. Plain and simple to the point. You know, and I was always a lone wolf. I ain't with no gangs.
But
I ain't with none of the affiliate.
everybody though is not
nonsense.
as rough as you. They're not because you're rough, Alan. You're rough. Somebody like me couldn't handle things like you.
Yeah, everything. But I don't really thought that people that should go into gangs. The
Yeah,
bloods,
I
I'm
think
not
that's I think
really
that's
on
corny
it. I was
personally.
I always stand by myself.
Yeah, I'm not with all that gang mess. I used to tell the boys I don't know what they did behind my back, but I used to tell them all the time if I ever find out you're in the gang, I'm gonna kill you personally. And I'd be like, your gang, you got enough cousins, that is your gang
Yeah.
right there. Your friends and stuff like that. Your friends.
But
your
you did an excellent job with
Well,
nephews.
well,
Believe me, excellent job.
Thank
Ain't
you.
like a bad thing. They're good boys. You know what I'm
Thank
saying? And they're on their way.
They're,
That's a
they're
good
on their
thing.
way. They're on their way. But I want to tell the people out there because I see like that doggone Sullivan Uncensored. It's filled with a lot of hate. I didn't realize how full of hate Sullivan County was until Sullivan Uncensored. When those people say things, don't feel a need to engage in them. Just act like they're irrelevant. They have
You
nothing
can
to
kill
do.
them with silence.
Right? They just sit behind that computer all day, looking probably like my 600-pound life, eating snacks and cakes and pies and Burger King and stuff like that, sitting there talking junk, talking there. They're internet thugs, internet gangsters. Don't acknowledge them. Kill them with silence. That's how you get rid of some of these people. Unless they come for you physically, words are just words. That's how I feel. I used to tell the boy that all the time. Words are just words. They can't hurt you. They
Nope.
can't. Let them say what they want to say. If it gets to the point, you may not like the police, but I am the cop caller. I will. My boys used to call me a snitch. I am a cop caller. I will call on you, and then I got one right there to my right now too. Got my Roro. What? We not doing that. But it doesn't even really get to that point because they just sit behind a computer and they're just talking. Ignore them. They're irrelevant. They're irrelevant unless they're coming for you and you're watching a move like they did on the Capitol. The way they put all that stuff together.
But picture it like this, real
I-
quick, if we end. Everybody dies alone. That's like
Yes.
when I always did my mess. I got in trouble. When they slam the door to that gate, no matter how tough guy you think you
Yeah.
are, when that cell closes at night, you in there by yourself.
Yeah.
So you reflect. You do all that. Just like if you was on your deathbed, all that comes to
Comes
fruition.
around. Yes.
Everything you've done. your soul starts emitting the things that you put in your life. So if you always put in hate, how do you think that person dies?
Oh, miserable.
Think about it.
That's horrible.
Take a step back and think about it. You're
that's,
there.
That's good. Yeah.
And everything is coming down on you.
Yeah.
I don't say, well, forget about them. It's like, damn, I hate to feel that pain.
And I don't want to feel that pain. But now I'm just saying, don't let it affect you now. Like, don't let it stop your
no,
growth.
what you gonna do?
Yeah, just don't. People talking junk. Don't let them stop you from being the great person.
Nothing ever, anything that ever stop you.
Yeah.
Because when I still came home, I still wanted to play football on Sundays. I played summer-pro football. I boxed for 6 years. True story, and you wouldn't believe who trained me for 6 years. Kevin Rooney.
I don't know who that is.
It's the same trainer at the same time. Mike was getting trained. I was training. He was training me.
Mike.
He was training me in the Green Correctional Facility. I used to box
Who's
in the
Mike?
prison. Mike Tyson.
Get all the way out.
Yes. Don't know that either, do you?
No.
I know the whole number system, the peekaboo.
I don't know.
That was my calling. I should just went and box because I was that nice. I was a middleweight, and I had over 50 fights, never lost. And Kevin trained me, and a bunch of guys. Same time they trained Mike. Mike wasn't the champion then, but he's come to the gym in the prison.
He had another purpose though.
Yep, and talked to us and all that. And he came to the prison every day and trained us on the peekaboo style of boxing. And we boxed. Other teams used to come to the facility to fight us.
Yeah, I was fighting in prison.
Yes,
okay.
I was putting it on him in prison.
Okay.
And I know why. But ain't nobody ready to mess with me.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good to know.
Yes.
I thank you for being here.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
You gonna come back again one day?
Yeah, we'll do it again.
Because you know what? Because this is
I can do this forever because I got so much things that really I can.
You know, and this was only my second show. I'm only gonna get better with time.
Yeah, that's
you know
good.
what I'm saying?
You're doing a great job.
Thank you. I love and appreciate you. Thank you all for watching, for joining in. This is our second segment of Tea Time with Bunky. As you can see, I believe in punctuality. It's an hour show. We're not doing too much. Leave your comments. Follow us on YouTube. Like and share. Any comments, you can send me messages at teatimewithbunky@gmail.com.
And you can holler at me anytime.
You can holler at him anytime. Any questions for him too?
Yeah.
You can send me messages. I'll make sure he gets them. Or you can find him on Facebook. I don't know if he's open to. I don't know.
Yeah, we go to Facebook. It's fine.
Everett Halsey, my brother. I appreciate you all. Thank you. I will see you next show. Continue supporting. You guys have a great night.
Have a good one.
God bless.